Hello and welcome to this video tutorial, getting started with OS2 Warp. I'm Virgil Ritchie along with Leslie Thomas.
OS2 Warp is IBM's 32-bit operating system. Use OS2 Warp for fast and easy multitasking and multimedia features.
OS2 Warp enhances your DOS and Windows applications, yet offers the advantages of true 32-bit operations. In this video, we'll cover installing OS2. We'll explain the tutorial and the desktop. We'll open a folder. We'll use a pop-up menu. We'll view a Windows application. We'll use the Launchpad and its push buttons. We'll change the lockup image. We'll minimize a window, activate it, then move it. We'll explain the Launchpad objects. We'll change the sound options. We'll change an object title. We'll create a shadow object, then open it. We'll change a program object name. We'll explain the Drives folder. We'll create a folder, then copy files into it. We'll delete an object. We'll format a floppy, then check our hard and floppy disks. We'll install a Windows application, then create a program object. We'll install a DOS application, then run it. We'll install part of the bonus pack. Then we'll move a folder. We'll explain and use dual boot. Finally, we'll shut down OS2 Warp. We're demonstrating the CD-ROM version of OS2 Warp. If you are installing Warp with floppy disks, some screen prompts may be different.
Since OS2 Warp uses a graphical environment, we will use the mouse unless otherwise specified.
Terms such as select, choose, highlight, double-click, and drag refer to the mouse cursor and mouse button 1, the left button.
We will specify when you need to use mouse button 2, the right mouse button.
You can install OS2 Warp over OS2 for Windows, DOS version 3.3 or later, OS2 version 1.3, Microsoft Windows 3.1 or 3.11, or Windows for Workgroups 3.1 or 3.11.
We're installing OS2 Warp over MS-DOS version 6.2 and Windows 3.1.
Keep in mind, you can install OS2 Warp on a computer with Windows 3.0 or just DOS. However, you cannot run Windows programs.
To run OS2 Warp properly, you need a computer system of 386SX with at least 4 megabytes of RAM.
Also, you need a 1.44 megabyte diskette drive, VGA video support, and an IBM-compatible mouse.
Our tutorial computer is an Intel 486-66DX with 16 megabytes of RAM. We're using a double-speed CD-ROM and a 16-bit Sound Blaster sound card.
If we do not want to answer technical questions about our computer and its attached hardware, we choose the Easy Installation feature.
Also, Easy Installation installs pre-selected features of OS2.
Use Advanced Installation to install OS2 Warp on a drive or partition other than C.
With Advanced Installation, we can install specific software instead of the pre-selected group and save hard drive space.
Keep in mind, OS2 uses about 60 megabytes of your hard drive. Let's install OS2 Warp. We'll use Easy Installation.
For now, place the learning disk that accompanies this tutorial in a convenient location. We'll copy its files to the hard drive later.
If you are installing OS2 Warp with us, have your Windows 3.1 program disks nearby. We'll begin at the MS-DOS hard drive prompt. Ours is C. We place the Warp installation disk in the proper drive. Ours is A. We place our Warp installation CD-ROM in the drive. Our computer is already on, so we restart it by pressing Ctrl plus Alt plus Delete.
If your computer will not boot from drive A, adjust your boot configuration in your CMOS setup.
We see the IBM installation screen. We remove the installation diskette from the drive. Then we place the diskette for CD-ROM in drive A. We press enter, and OS2 Warp begins to load the system onto the hard drive. We see the Welcome to OS2 screen. Now, we can choose whether to install OS2 with the Easy or Advanced installation. With Easy installation highlighted, we press enter, and OS2 begins loading system files. At the prompt, we remove the diskette from drive A. We press enter, and OS2 reboots our computer. We see the OS2 Warp logo screen. Now, we see the system configuration window. We see our country configuration and our hardware devices. We accept the defaults. We press OK and see the Select System Default Printer window. With Do Not Install Default Printer highlighted, we choose OK. At the Multimedia Device Settings window, we accept the defaults and select OK. OS2 Warp transfers files to the hard disk. OS2 updates our system configuration, then continues transferring files to our hard disk. At the Insert Windows Diskette prompts, we insert the proper disks. Then we press enter. OS2 Warp completes the installation. Now we need to shut down and restart our system. We remove the diskette from drive A. Now we choose OK. OS2 Warp completes the shutdown procedure. We restart our system by pressing Ctrl plus Alt plus Delete. We see the logo screen, the OS2 desktop, and the Introducing OS2 tutorial window. We have a sound card and hear the Warp welcome sound.
You may pause the tape now to practice on your computer.
Let's review what we covered in Chapter 1. We listed the operating systems you can install OS2 Warp over.
We discussed the minimum computer system you need for running OS2 Warp.
We explained the easy and advanced installation options. Finally, we installed OS2 Warp using easy installation. Let's have a look at the tutorial. To see the tutorial subjects, we click the right arrow. Use any of the 7 sections plus the index for reference. Now let's view a thumbnail description of the index button. We place the mouse pointer on it and see the description in the bottom box. To view the tutorial index, click and see the Using OS2 index window. We choose Cancel and return to the tutorial. Now to close the tutorial, we select the Quit button. And we see the OS2 desktop. On the left side, we see OS2 and information icons. We see icons on the rest of the desktop also. In OS2 Warp, icons represent objects. Objects can represent a data file, device, application, or a folder containing other objects. OS2 Warp refers to directories as folders. A folder can contain subdirectories or more folders. At the bottom of the desktop, we see the Launchpad. It holds frequently used objects. We'll discuss the Launchpad in a moment. Now let's open the WinOS2 Groups folder. We place the pointer on the folder. We double-click and see the WinOS2 Groups window. We see other folders in this window. We installed OS2 Warp over Windows 3.1, and we see several default Windows groups. When we open the Accessories folder by double-clicking it, we see the group Window Programs. Let's close the Accessories group window. We place the pointer on its title bar icon. It's in the upper left corner. Then, we double-click and see the WinOS2 Groups window. Every OS2 object, window, and desktop has a pop-up menu. With a pop-up menu, we can manipulate the specific object. Let's view the WinOS2 pop-up menu. We place the pointer on the title bar icon. It's in the left corner of the title bar. We click mouse button 1 and see the pop-up menu. You can open a window pop-up menu with mouse button 1 or 2. We can view the contents of any OS2 window 3 different ways. Let's change the WinOS2 Groups window view. First, we place the pointer on the right arrow next to Open. Then, we click and see a cascaded menu. At this time, we see a check mark next to the icon View. We select Tree View and see another window with our tree view. To see the Details view, we again display the pop-up menu. Then we display the cascaded menu. Then select Details View. In this view, we see the title, object class, the real name of the program, its size, and last write date. When we click the right arrow on the horizontal scroll bar, OS2 Warp displays the last write time, last access date, last access time, creation date, creation time, and flags. To move the right window to its beginning column, we can drag the mouse on the scroll bar button.
Some OS2 actions or commands use dragging. To drag a mouse, simply place the pointer on the specific object. Then press and hold mouse button 1 as you move the mouse in a chosen direction.
We place the pointer on the scroll bar button. We drag the mouse to the left. When we see the real name column, we release the mouse. Now let's close our windows. We place the pointer on the Details View title bar icon. We double-click, and OS2 Warp closes the window. We close the Tree View window in the same manner.
You may pause the tape now to practice on your computer.
If you use Microsoft Windows 3.1, you won't have to reinstall any of your Windows programs.
When we installed OS2 Warp, it moved or migrated our Windows programs. Let's view the Microsoft Office group window.
We open the Microsoft Office folder by double-clicking it. Let's open Microsoft Word for Windows 6.0. We place the pointer on the program icon. We double-click and see the Word for Windows screen. Now we close Word by double-clicking its Control button and return to the desktop. Now we close both windows.
Use the launch pad to perform various tasks and organize frequently used objects. Let's take a look at the launch pad and its push buttons.
We can move the launch pad anywhere on the desktop. We place the pointer on any blank launch pad section. Then we drag the mouse and the outline up. When properly positioned, we release the mouse. Now we return the launch pad to its original position by dragging, then releasing it. Use the push buttons at the left side of the launch pad to perform various tasks. Use the lockup button to secure your computer keyboard and display. We'll try it. We select the lockup button and see the password box. We can use 1 to 15 characters for our password. Keep in mind that passwords are not case sensitive. We type Viagrafix. We press Tab and move to the verification line. Again, we type Viagrafix. We press Enter and return to the desktop. We will not see this password window again. Now let's lock our desktop. We choose the lockup button and see the OS2 Warp logo. Now let's return to the desktop. We type Viagrafix. We press Enter and see our desktop. Let's change our password. We place the pointer in a blank area of the desktop. We click mouse button 2 and see the desktop pop-up menu. We select Settings and see the Desktop Settings notebook window. We choose the Lockup tab and see the first of 3 lockup pages. We move to page 3 by clicking the right arrow at the bottom of the page twice. At the password line, we type Warp. We press Tab and move to the password verification line. Once again, we type Warp. Then we press Enter. It's a good idea to write down your password and put it in a safe place.
At this time, we will only see the logo screen when we push the lockup button. We can tell OS2 Warp to lock up automatically.
Now let's take a look at the timeout section. We move to page 1 of the lockup section by clicking the left arrow twice. To use automatic lockup, we select the radio button in front of this option. Now, if we do not perform any action on our desktop within 3 minutes, OS2 Warp will automatically lock up and display the logo screen. We use the up and down spinner arrows to adjust the time until lockup. We do not want to use automatic lockup, so we choose the radio button in front of the No Automatic Lockup option. It's easy to change the lockup image. We move to page 2. Then we display the File menu in the image line by clicking the down arrow. We see 41 different screen images we can use. We select OS2 logo and see the new image in the preview. To create a custom screen with OS2's icon editor, choose the Create Another button. If you prefer a blank colored screen, choose the box in front of the Color Only option. We see a forest green preview. To select another color, choose the Change Color button. At the Edit Color window, change the shading of the current color by dragging the bar up and down. To change the color, we place the mouse on the crosshair intersection. We drag the mouse and see the bar change. To close the Edit window, we double-click on the title bar down arrow. We want to see our selected logo, so we remove the check mark in front of the Color Only option. We're finished, so we close Settings by double-clicking its title bar icon. We choose the Lockup button and see our new screen image. Now we type Warp. We press Enter and see our desktop.
You may pause the tape now to practice on your computer.
Use the Find Push button in the Launchpad to find any object. We select Find and see the Find Objects box. The name line does not recognize upper or lowercase letters. Let's find the Excel application. We type Excel in all lowercase. We display the Start Folder menu. We choose C. With the Search All Subfolders option selected, we press Enter and see the Search in Progress message. We see the Find Results window with Microsoft Excel displayed. We double-click the folder and see the Excel files. To start Excel, we double-click excel.exe. We see the Excel screen. We close Excel by double-clicking its Control button, and OS2 Warp returns us to the Excel window. Now we close both windows. We close the Find Objects window in the same manner. Use the Window List push button to locate objects and open minimized windows. We choose the Window List button and see two open objects, the desktop and the Launchpad. By default, the window list covers the entire screen, the maximum view. Now let's restore the window to its regular size. We click the Restore button. It's in the right corner of the title bar. We close the window list by double-clicking the down arrow on the title bar. When you finish with your session, exit OS2 Warp using the Shut Down push button. When you shut down your computer, OS2 Warp automatically remembers information about which windows are open and their location. Now let's open some folders. Then try Shutdown. We open the Win OS2 Groups folder. Let's move this window. We place the pointer anywhere on the title bar. We drag the mouse and the outline downward. When properly positioned, we release the mouse. Let's open the information object. If you want several windows open at once, it's easy to resize them. Let's reduce the information window. We place the pointer on the bottom edge. When we see the mouse pointer change into a two-way arrow, we drag the mouse upward. When properly sized, we release the mouse. Now let's shut down our system. We choose the Shutdown push button. At the prompt, we press Enter. OS2 Warp automatically closes our windows and prepares our system to be turned off. We see the Shutdown has completed prompt. We can now turn off our computer or restart OS2 Warp. Let's restart it. We press and hold the Control and Alt keys. Then we press Delete. We release the Control and Alt keys. We see our computer restart and return to the desktop. Also, OS2 Warp automatically opens the two windows we left open. If you want to hide a window, you can minimize it. Let's minimize our windows. We select the Minimize button. It's the second one from the right on the title bar. We minimize the Win OS2 Groups window in the same manner. To see a list of the minimized windows, we use the Window List. Let's open the Window List and use a keyboard shortcut. We press and hold the Control key, then press Escape. Now we see the Window List. We release the Control key. Let's restore the information window. We place the pointer on any part of the information icon view text. We double-click, and OS2 opens the window. Also, the window list automatically closes. From this view, you can open the tutorial we viewed earlier. Let's view the Master Help Index. We place the pointer anywhere on this text. We double-click and see the Master Help Index notebook. To display the rest of the tabs, simply click the double down arrows. To view topics on the font palette, we click the F tab. We double-click Font Palette and see information concerning it. We see some additional blue text at the bottom of the window. Let's view the Changing, Adding, and Deleting Fonts topic. We double-click on any part of this text and see the information. We return to the font palette information by choosing the previous button. For convenience, we can move the right side window by dragging its title bar. We close both windows by double-clicking the title bar icon. Use the glossary to see an alphabetical list of terms for the OS2 operating system. README contains last-minute information about OS2 Warp. If you want a description of the purpose and syntax of OS2 commands, read Command Reference. Use any of the online books for additional information on that subject. For example, the Applications Considerations online book provides helpful hints on using games under OS2 Warp. Printing in OS2 helps with installing new printers or solving problems. We close the information window and return to the desktop.
You may pause the tape now.
Although we do not see any windows open, we see the Win OS2 Groups folder open, signifying an active window. Let's display the Win OS2 Group window and use the window list. To view the window list, we use another shortcut. We place the pointer in a blank area of the desktop. We click mouse button 1 and mouse button 2 simultaneously. Then we see the window list. We double-click the Win OS2 Groups text and see the window. Now we close the window, and Warp closes the Win OS2 Groups folder on the desktop. On the right side of the Launchpad, we see 4 Launchpad objects. Some of them have a bar with an up arrow above them. This bar signifies a drawer. Let's view the contents of the learning disk. We place the disk that accompanies this tutorial in the proper drive. Ours is A. Now we select the Drive A object and see the Drive A icon view window. Sample 1 is a Microsoft Word for Windows 6.0 file, and Sample 2 is an Excel file, and OS2 Warp displays specific icons. The learn.exe can be read in DOS as signified by a DOS prompt icon. Let's open the Learn file. We double-click it, and OS2 Warp displays our file. To view all of the text, we enlarge the window. We close the Learn window and return to the Drive A window. We answer yes to the Close prompt. We close the Drive A window. To view our hard drive contents, let's open the drive drawer. We click the bar with the up arrow on it and see the Drive C object. We select it and see the Drive C tree view. Now we close the Drive C window. To remove the hard drive icon, we choose the drawer bar. Choosing the next object displays the OS2 command prompt. Use this prompt to type OS2 commands. We can type up to 299 characters before we press enter. Now let's enter an OS2 command. We type CHK DSK. Then we press enter and see our hard drive information. Now we close the window. We answer yes to the close prompt. Some OS2 commands are different from DOS. If you want to use DOS commands, simply display the drawer above the OS2 window icon. Now we see the DOS window icon. Just select the icon to see the DOS window. Then close the drawer. Earlier, we viewed the OS2 tutorial screen. For easy access to the tutorial, we choose the third button. We select the Quit button and return to the Launchpad. Use the last icon, the shredder, to quickly delete files, objects, or folders. We'll use the shredder later.
You may pause the tape now.
If you have a sound card, as we do, you can control the volume, change sounds, or turn it off. Let's view our OS2 Warp sound options. We open OS2 System. Then we open System Setup. We open Sound and see the Sound Settings notebook. With the Sound tab selected, we see the system events and the default sound files. Most of the system events have sounds assigned to them. If you want, you can change the sounds. To reduce or increase the volume, we can click the minus or plus buttons. For faster volume adjustment, we place the pointer on the sound dial indicator, the line. Then we drag the mouse to the right or left. Let's turn our sound effects off. We select the button in front of the Enable System Sounds option and remove the check mark.
The sound changes are permanent until we change them.
We select the Warning Beep tab. By default, OS2 Warp sounds a warning beep when it displays a warning message, or you press an invalid key. We select the General tab. Let's change our sound object title. We can use any characters, including spaces, except the backslash. We can create up to 3 lines with 26 characters per line. With the insertion point blinking in the title box, we press the Delete key and remove the text. Then we type Viagrafix sound. To start a new line in your title, press the Enter key. Use the Create Another button to make a different sound icon. The Edit button allows you to change the current icon. Use the Find button to locate any objects. We're finished, so we close the sound notebook. We see the new icon title. With OS2 Warp, we can create a shadow. A shadow is a new object that represents an original object and its contents.
Use a shadow object to access frequently used objects. A shadow object is different from a copy.
For example, a copied object is independent from the original, but any action we perform on a shadow automatically exchanges data with the original object.
The objects we used earlier in the Launchpad are shadows. Remember, if we move or delete a shadow, we do not affect the original.
Let's create a shadow from the Viagrafix sound icon. We place the pointer on Viagrafix sound. We click mouse button 2 and see the pop-up menu. We choose Create Shadow and see the Create Shadow box. We want to place our shadow on the desktop, so we select Desktop. We choose the Create button, and OS2 Warp creates our Viagrafix sound shadow. Let's close the System Setup, then the OS2 Systems windows with a keyboard shortcut. We press and hold the Alt key. We press F4 twice. With both windows closed, we release the Alt key. We see our shadow in the upper right corner of the desktop. We open a shadow object the same way we open a regular one. We place the pointer on the shadow icon. We double-click and see the Viagrafix sound settings. Now we close the window. Earlier, we use general settings to change our sound icon title. However, we can easily change an object title from the desktop. Let's change the Windows Programs folder to our Program Manager. We place the pointer on the text. We press and hold the Alt key. We click and see the highlighted text. Now we release the Alt key. With the insertion point blinking, we press the Delete key and remove the text. Now we type in all capital letters, "Our program." We press Enter and type Manager. To deselect the text, we point and click in a blank area. Now we see our new object name.
You may pause the tape now.
Let's review what we've covered in Chapter 2. We discussed sections of the OS2 Warp tutorial. We defined OS2 objects, then opened a folder.
We displayed tree and detail window views. We moved the launchpad. We assigned a password to our system, then used lockup to secure it.
We used the Find button to locate a program. We shut down, then restarted our system with the Shut Down push button.
We viewed minimized windows with the window list. We explained programs in the information window.
We viewed the OS2 command prompt, then the tutorial. We explained the shredder.
We changed the OS2 sound settings, then created a shadow object. Finally, we changed the object name from the desktop. We open OS2 System. We open the Drives group window and see all of our drives. We can read any of our drives. We place a CD-ROM in our drive. We double-click Drive D and see our CD-ROM files. We close the Drive D window. And again, let's view our learning disk files. We double-click Drive A and we see our files.
To copy our files to the hard drive, we need a folder to place them in. To create an object such as a folder, we use a template.
Use a template as a model to create additional objects. Let's create a folder to place our learning disk files into. We open Templates. We place the pointer on Folder. We press and hold mouse button 2. We drag the mouse and the folder to the desktop. We release mouse button 2 and see our new folder. Now we close the Templates window. Let's rename our new folder. We place the pointer on the folder text. We press and hold the Alt key, then click. Now we release the Alt key. We press Delete and remove the text. Now we type in all capital letters, Viagrafix. We press Enter and create another line. We type Tutorial. Press Enter and type Folder. To deselect, we point and click in a blank area. Now we see our new folder name. When we open our new folder, we see an empty group window. Let's move copies of our learning disk files into the tutorial folder. We move the tutorial folder toward the bottom of the screen by dragging its title bar. To copy and move all of the files simultaneously, we press and hold the Control key. Now, we click on each object's title name and highlight it. When finished, We release the Control key. Now we place the pointer on any file. We press and hold mouse button 2. Then drag the mouse and the icon to the Viagrafix tutorial folder. We release the mouse, and OS2 Warp copies all of the files into the tutorial folder. To move a file from one location to another, simply drag it. We deselect the files in the Drive A window by pointing and clicking in the Group Windows blank area. Now we close the Drive A window. Use the shredder to permanently delete any OS2 Warp object. Let's delete one of our learning disk files. We enlarge the tutorial group window. We want to delete the sample1 file. In the Viagrafix tutorial group window, we place the pointer on the sample1 icon. We press and hold mouse button 2. Now we drag the mouse and the icon outline on top of the shredder. We release the mouse and see the Delete Object box. Now we choose the Delete button. We answer yes to the Confirm Delete prompt, and OS2 Warp deletes the file. Now we close the Viagrafix tutorial folder.
Formatting floppy disks is a necessary part of any operating system. OS2 Warp makes it easy to format.
We place the disk we want to format in the proper drive. Ours is A. At the Drives group window, we place the pointer on Drive A. We display the pop-up menu. Now we choose Format Disk. For this exercise, we do not want a volume label. We change the capacity to 720 kilobytes by clicking the down spinner arrow. Now we choose the Format button. We see our disk being formatted in the Format Progress box. When OS2 Warp finishes formatting our floppy, we see the total space and space available figures. We choose OK and close the box. We do not want to format any more floppy disks, so we choose Cancel and close the Format Disk A box. We can use any disk formatted in OS2 Warp with DOS or Windows 3.1. Warp formats any disk for the FAT file system.
Another part of system housekeeping is checking our hard drive or floppies. Let's check our hard drive, then our learning disk.
We place our learning disk in the proper drive. Ours is A. We place the pointer on Drive A. We display the pop-up menu. Now we choose Check Disk and see the Check Disk box. If we select the box in front of the Write Corrections to Disk option, OS2 Warp automatically fixes any errors in the file allocation table or directory on the diskette. For this exercise, we accept the default. We choose the Check button and see the Check Disk Results box. Warp displays current usage, file system type, total disk space, and the total amount of disk space available. We choose Cancel and close the box. We do not want to check any more disks in Drive A, so we select Cancel. Now let's check Drive C. We place the pointer on Drive C and display the pop-up menu. Now we choose Check Disk. Again, we accept the defaults in the Check Disk box. We select the Check button, and Warp checks our hard drive. We choose Cancel twice, and return to the Drives group window. We close the Drives and OS2 system windows.
Let's review what we've covered in Chapter 3. We examined the Drives folder, then read a disk in the CD-ROM drive.
We created a folder. We renamed our folder. We copied files from our learning disk into our new folder.
We used the shredder and deleted a learning disk file. We formatted a floppy disk. Finally, we used Check Disk with our learning disk and our hard drive.
OS2 Warp makes it easy to install any type of application. Let's install a Game Pack demo disk. First, we open OS2 System. Next, we double-click on the Command Prompts program object. Now we double-click on Win OS2 Full Screen and see the Windows Program Manager. We see the minimized OS2 desktop icon in the lower left corner of the screen. We place our demo disk in the proper drive. Ours is A. Now we choose File from the menu bar, then the Run command. We select the Browse button. Then we change the drive's line to A. Now we double-click on Setup.exe. At the Run box, we press Enter and see our program prompt. At the prompt, we accept the default directory and press Enter. We see our program installing to our hard drive. We see the successful install setup prompt. We press Enter and return to the Program Manager. Now we see the Take a Break group window. Let's return to Warp. We double-click on the Program Manager's control button and answer OK to the prompt. And we see the desktop. We close the command prompts and OS2 system windows. Now we remove our installation disk. Let's run our program. We open Win OS2 groups. We do not see a folder for our Take a Break program.
Although we installed our program, we need to create a program object on the OS2 Warp desktop. Let's create a program object for our Take a Break program.
We open OS2 System. We double-click System Setup. Then we double-click on Add Programs. With the Add New Programs option selected, we choose OK. OS2 Warp automatically searches for our new program, then adds it to our desktop. At the complete prompt, we press Enter. Now we close the System Setup and OS2 System windows. We see the Take a Break folder in the Win OS2 group window. We open it and see our programs. Now let's start one of them, the Incredible Machine. We double-click the TIM program object, and Warp begins our program. We close the program by double-clicking its control button. We answer OK to the prompt. And we close all the windows.
You may pause the tape now to practice on your computer.
Let's install a DOS shareware game, Hugo's House. We place the program disk in the proper drive. Ours is A. Now we open OS2 System. We open the command prompts. Then we open the DOS window. At the C prompt, we type /install. Then we press Enter. We accept the default directory by pressing Enter twice. Now we're finished installing, so we close the DOS window. And we answer yes to the prompt.
We need to add our program object to our desktop. Let's run Add Program again.
We close the command prompt window. In the OS2 System window, we open System Setup. We open Add Programs. At the Add Programs box, we accept the defaults and choose OK. We see the No New Programs message. Sometimes OS2 Warp cannot find the program we want to add. However, we can manually search and add the program. Let's try it. We answer yes to the prompt and see the Search for Programs window. We want to find a DOS program. So, we remove the check marks in front of the Windows Programs, Windows Groups, and OS2 Programs options. We choose OK, and OS2 Warp searches for programs. Now we see the results. We still do not see our program. We select the Other Programs button. At the Other Programs box, we scroll the available programs list and see hhh.exe. We highlight this file and see it in the program title line. Now we choose the Add button. We select OK and return to the Select Programs box. We see our program in the Programs list. We choose OK, and OS2 Warp adds the programs to the desktop. Now we close the complete prompt, and we close all the windows. We see the additional DOS Programs folder on our desktop. We open it and see the hhh.exe program object. Let's run our program. We double-click our program object and see our opening screen. To close our program, we type Quit, press Enter, then we press Y at the prompt, and we return to the desktop. Now we close the additional DOS Programs window.
OS2 Warp includes a bonus pack with its operating system. The bonus pack contains a collection of applets that run under OS2 version 3.
Let's install part of the bonus pack. We open OS2 System. We open Command Prompts. We open OS2 Full Screen. You can install using the OS2 window also. We place our CD-ROM in the proper drive. Ours is D. At the C prompt, we type D:. Then we press Enter. We can install our bonus pack in one of 15 country codes. We want to install US English, so we type CD/US. Then we press Enter. At the US directory, we type Install. We press Enter, and we see the bonus installation utility window. We want to install the Works applet, so we highlight Works. We select the Install button, and we see the IBM Works 2.0 installation box. We choose the Continue button. With the Update config.sys option selected, we select OK. We accept the default Works directory. We choose the Install button, and OS2 Warp installs the IBM Works program. Now we see the successful install prompt. OS2 Warp altered our configuration system file, so we must reboot our system to activate the changes. We press Enter and remove the prompt. Now we select the Exit button. At this time, we do not want to install any more bonus pack applets, so we choose Cancel and return to the desktop. Now we close all the windows. We select the Shutdown Push button. Now we choose OK at the prompt. We select Yes at the Close prompt. To restart our system, we press Ctrl plus Alt plus Delete. We see the desktop and our IBM Works folder. We open this folder, and then we see our program icons. Now we expand the window. We close the IBM Works window. Let's move our IBM Works folder below the information object. We place the pointer on the IBM Works folder. We press and hold mouse button 2. We drag the mouse and the outline to the proper position. Then we release the mouse. We installed OS2 Warp using the Easy installation and the Dual Boot feature automatically installed. Some DOS programs do not run under OS2.
Dual boot remembers which operating system should start when we turn on the computer. Let's use Dual Boot to automatically start in DOS.
We open OS2 System. We open Command Prompts. We open Dual Boot. At the prompt, we type Y. We press Enter and OS2 Warp reboots our system. We see our hard drive DOS prompt. When we press our computer's reset button, our computer resets and displays the DOS prompt. Now let's restart OS2. At the DOS prompt, we type C:/OS2/boot/OS2. Then we press enter. At the continue prompt, we type Y. Then we press enter. Our computer restarts and we see the OS2 Warp desktop. Now, let's press reset again. Our computer restarts and we see the OS2 Warp desktop. Now we close the open windows. To exit OS2 Warp, we choose the shutdown push button. We answer OK at the prompt, then yes at the prompt. At the shutdown completed prompt, we turn off the computer.
Let's review what we've covered in Chapter 4. We installed a Windows application, then ran it.
We used add programs and added a program object for our Windows application. We installed a DOS shareware application, then searched and added our DOS program object to the desktop.
We installed an OS2 program, the IBM Works, in the bonus pack. We moved a folder on the desktop.
We explained, then used the dual boot feature. Finally, we shut down OS2 Warp.